Good afternoon. Today is Friday. It's my day off. And exactly today, we heard a lot of. I think this is from since 3 days ago about the vote or election, which claimed to be the most topic of the election that determine people decision to vote. The main thing is the inflation. It seems real, but how do they get away from inflation? This is world a spiral problem that seems near end. It seems to keep going, not for the longest time, but soon it will be over because we need to be in the positive side. With pretext that inflation is created by the Democrat, is it real or is it unreal? Is it the world problem or it just typically American, especially American problem only? Then we can see it's a systemic problem. It's called systemic inflation. Systemic inflation is that the whole world got it, and it consists of so many factors. One of it is the war in Ukraine, that the Russian is cut off all the energy supplies and all together synchronized with the OPEC as a cartel want to check up the price and enjoy it. And also all the oil companies, big oil companies like Shell, British Petroleum, Exxon, Conoco, Phillips, and all of those big companies that try to make money out of it, to make profit out of this situation. So they keep on choking the supply, just like OPEC. So the whole oil industries are choking the supply of their oil, and some of those probably still maintain the production level, but they store their oil or gas in offshore using tankers and use it for the futures price windfall. So it's for a future trading, stuff like that. So anyway, in this energy price hikes is part of the inflation, and then another one is the drug price hike, and then another one also is the consumer price hikes, electronic price hikes, vegetables or groceries price hikes, cars price hikes, and house probably not gonna hike. It's the reason is the interest rates of mortgage is quite high, which is 7%. So not that many people will be able to afford 7%. 7% here doesn't mean 7% straight, but the 7% means there's gonna be a lot to it, like the financing fee, the interest rate, the insurance, and then the banker's fees and all those kind of fees, and then the brokerage fees, and then the valuation fee. So it's just mounting over one to another's. It becomes so expensive. So all of these um, expensive economic situation or inflation, it's so systemic that no one can get away. Not not even one country can get away with this inflation. So then the Republican keep framing that inflation is the Democrat only problem in the United States only, specifically. It's ridiculous, but it seems Democrat cannot avoid this frustration. It seems the Democrat that create this frustration. Um, it's about messaging. The Democrat cannot deliver the message that hey, we gonna face. So Joe Biden need to start preparing American that we're gonna face a long inflation. It's not because of us, but it's because the world, and he should welcome everybody or Republican too if they have a solution, and tell the American that this is systemic inflation, that no one can get away with it, not even single country, not even single uh, person can change the price of oil. So he needs help, and any Republican opinion like this, I give you a highlight of a Paramore musician that say if you have an opinion, stick it to yourself, and she doesn't want to listen. It's quite phenomenon right now that nobody want to listen to your opinion, or political opinion is kind of offensive, and if you bring it up to the work, it create how do you say a company angers, or the management will get angry at the person who brought up the political. But the political basically is healthy, and opinion basically is healthy. Only people fed up with it because they cannot reconcile, because they cannot discuss like the problem here that I've been telling you. The Democrat cannot deliver the message that inflation is unavoidable, so that everybody have to work together to solve the inflation problem. So having opinion that Republican itself can solve the whole systemic inflation problem, it's so ridiculous. And any Republican politician that think they're a real good politician can solve economic problem, it's ridiculous. So it's a laughing stock. And even economists like the Fed chairman Powell, he cannot solve himself with this keep hiking the interest rate. The Fed interest rates cannot overcome this inflation. This inflation is like an avalanche that will run over anybody, run over any Fed interest rate hikes. So it needs a strategically synchronized policies from all aspect, from supply line, from transportation, from infrastructures, from Fed interest rate probably is, and could be is, but it seems not showing, and also could come from innovation, could come from red tapes that needs to be taking off, like any any product that want to come out, it has so many inspection, it has so many redundancy of testing. We need to simplify it toward it's only safe for human, and it's only test the functionality, or the test of the efficacy, or the test of the efficiency, but no more. Or like a road infrastructure is building, it's supposed to be inspection not too much, and also a company or tax, it's just too much. So we need to simplify it, we need to deregulate, so everything should be so easy, so people can make an investment, so people can make a company really easy, so that way more companies, more product, more investment, more workers, and everything will be cheap because there's no red tapes. Also, the tax for the middle class needs to be lower, so that way the middle class will have more money as a help. The IRS could help basically by lowering tax for the middle class. For the rich people, they don't get effect of this inflation. So now if everything is cheap, how could it be inflation? How could it be inflation ever exist? So that's the basic things to tackle the inflation, is to create a cheap scheme, or a cheap ambience all over the world. Like walking is cheap, you don't tax people walking. Breathing is cheap, or water is cheap, so you don't tax water. That way, how could it be an inflation? So like this cat is cheap, so that way no. So inflation, go back again. Right now, a lot of people, they try to buy stuff that they don't need. They went all over the place wasting up gas. So all this unnecessary is driving up inflation, and then investment on housing. It's create more price, more. It's just too much, and also the consumerism, it needs to stop somehow. Somehow people still thinking that spending so much while they don't have money is appropriate, but it's not helping to curtail the inflation. I know a lot of people just need a basic stuff. That's how the IRS need to come up with lowering tax. So basic necessities is not hard to come by, and also probably the tax for the sales tax for a middle class need to be lowered down. That way it create a cheapness. When everything is cheap, can you call it inflation? It's a big question right here. So anyway, when I go, no, this cat is like crazy. Excuse me. So cheapness of the world will fight the inflation. And if we ask a Republican what's their plan about the inflation, they don't have, because they're not economists. Even economists like Powell, the Fed Powell, the chairman of the Fed Powell, he cannot even bring down the inflation, and he's the economist. Or any expert in economic, they cannot bring down the inflation. How could Republican? How could any politician like Herschel Walker or Mehmet Oz from Turkey, that want to be the Pennsylvania senators. Seems impossible. How would they know? So this particular problem Obama have highlighted. There are a lot of people that want to be a pilot, but they cannot even fly a plane. So inflation back to square one. Need to create a cheapness, a cheap situation on anything. So if everything is cheap, how would you call it inflation? Right? So what to do? Every sectors have to contribute to lower down the inflation. How to do it? It has to be from everybody, not only the Fed that keep increasing the rate, but the IRS need to do something. I think the IRS is ridiculous. Try to tax everybody that is devastated by the inflation. It's like doesn't make sense. Although the country needs to finance itself by taxing people, but again, how could a country be survive with together with the inflation? It seems doesn't make sense. So IRS need to help, and also the bureaucrat need to also help by cutting all the red tapes and try to simplify all the procedures of inspection and stuff like that. So we have this. Yeah, no. There, the cat's run away. Okay, I guess we have a cat inflation too in the house. Hopefully this inflation will be over, but I doubt it because nobody tried to help. It's only the Fed that is single fighters, the lost heroes that work in vain. So come on, IRS need to help. Come on, other government red tape need to help, and people also need to help. We need them to delay their purchase, delay their spending, delay their consumerism. Don't buy stuff that you don't need. All right, that's enough for today for inflation.